Welcome to the fourth episode of Confront. Let us get straight to the point, viewers. Is the crackdown on 5 alleged Maoist sympathizers an assault on the right to dissent in a democracy? To confront this question and inevitably each other, I am joined by Dr. Subramanian Swamy, MP of the Rajya Sabha, and Pavan Verma, distinguished author and former diplomat. Let me begin with you straight off, Dr. Swamy. Many people are saying that some of those arrested are established trade unionists, they're intellectuals and advocates of Dalit Adivasi rights. They have battled in their own way caste oppression, and yet on some pretext or the other, they are being jailed. Now, this may not be the emergency, Dr. Swamy, but this is about state excess against critics.
Yes, in emergency, if they had been arrested, there would have been nothing in the new media or newspapers, or they could not have, in the initial stages at least, gone to the court. So, I mean, to compare it with the emergency is ridiculous. But let me also say that if you go back to see the record of these 5, 3 of them have been arrested during the UPA period for the similar kind of offences. And so I'm surprised that the UPA can arrest and nobody will say anything. And in the case of BJP, even before the matter comes to the court for presentation evidence, leave alone the court orders, people are saying that this is a wrong thing. They have made a judgment on a lack of evidence and that there was no basis. And so I think this is something which one must ponder, that you can't apply double standards for a democracy. There's only one standard.
And what is that standard?
That standard is that everybody has a right to be heard if he's arrested. If the court finds them a reckless disregard for facts and they're being arrested, they can sue the government. They are all procedures. But to say that the government cannot act because we don't approve of your action, we cannot share the data with the opposition before making arrests. There is no such procedure anywhere in the world.
Mr. Verma, your response first to this opening question.
The arrest of these activists is now sub judice. It is before the court. And the court will decide whether there is credible evidence of a nature which actually fits into the accusation made. I have a general point to make, and I think the Supreme Court itself, while hearing the question of granting them bail or putting them under house arrest as it has done, and the Supreme Court itself highlighted that point, that dissent by itself, even if it may appear to you to be seditious, is not sufficient ground to invoke the law and arrest you. I believe national security is paramount. I believe national interest is paramount. But I also believe that if national security and national interest are interpreted to mean that those who differ, those who disagree with you, or those who pursue means which you consider to be wrong but for the right cause, provided it's within the ambit of law, which is to fight for human rights, to fight for Dalits, to fight for tribals, to fight for those who are marginalized, and in a much larger sense, to fight for what they believe is the creation of a just society. I don't believe it is sufficient ground to put a label on them and to say that they are a threat to national security. I don't wish to argue the point further merely on facts because the government has yet to provide to the court evidence to back up the reasons for its arrest. But until then, I will claim that in a democracy, dissent and the freedom to disagree is a fundamental right. Not only in a democracy, let me add, Rahul. We are a young nation but a very old civilization. And I believe one of the bedrocks of our civilizational strength is the tolerance of dissent.
So let me ask you, do you believe and do you still stand by what the leader of your political party, Mr. Nitish Kumar, had said a few years ago? In fact, in the case of Kanhaiya Kumar, and let me quote him. He had said that even intellectuals that are uniting against the BJP today are running the risk of being called anti-national. And in the context of this student leader Kanhaiya Kumar, he said, Kanhaiya Kumar is more patriotic than them, and therefore I extend my best wishes to them. They think that they can suppress the voice of others and their ideological force and divide government, think that they can suppress the voice of people and society of the country. First it was love jihad, then ghar wapsi, next was the issue of beef, and now patriotism. But they will not succeed in their game plan. Do you believe this government still is adhering to this sort of formulation?
I believe it is. And I have no hesitation in stating it with complete clarity and emphasis. Because I don't believe, for instance, that Kanhaiya Kumar is an anti-nationalist. I can disagree with him. I can say his views are wrong. I can say he's far more emphatic in professing them from one point of view. I have the right to disagree with him.
And you're saying
but I am
on
not
the
going
back
to
of
say,
what the Supreme Court has said on sedition. And let me read that back to you, sir. In 1962, the Supreme Court ruled that 124A was constitutional if a balance could be struck between a citizen's fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression in the interest of public order. Now, none of these individuals from the prima facie, and I don't want to presage the prosecution here, prima facie from whatever has come out, have suggested that they were posing a threat to public order. Would you agree with that?
No, this is not for you to make the judgment. The fact is, first of all, these reasonable restrictions, including that of public order, includes before the public disorder takes place. For instance, the hate speech laws that we have, the question is, if I were to say something, it's enough that whether if I am of the view that there's a proximate connection with the future public disorder for me to take action. So therefore, when you say you don't believe, it doesn't matter what your satisfaction is. Satisfaction is of the court.
Okay, but in 2011,
yes,
merely membership or affiliation did not brand you a terrorist. The Kerala government challenged the bail for Dr. Ranif, whom the police had accused of being a member of the Popular Front of India, and booked under UAPA. Today, the government is claiming that some of these individuals were working with the Elgar Parishad as overground elements who were forwarding a pernicious terror ideology and the interests and the rights of a terror group. Now that under the law, by affiliation, you cannot brand someone a terrorist.
Well, of course, that's trite. Because
trite.
Yes, it is trite, because you are basing on I don't know which document. The documents that get placed in the court is what we will have to look at. Whether the police had concrete evidence that they were plotting something or not. In fact, that's the core, that they were plotting something. That we'll find out in court.
Okay, possession of literature is a charge. 2011 Gujarat High Court says possession of literature without action not a crime.
But there's no, where are you quoting from? In this particular case, are you quoting from any document, or what you have heard some spokesman say, or some newspaper fellow has come out?
Newspaper reports on court
reports
judgment.
I will not go by.
Gujarat High Court released
that's
on
the
bail
earlier
5
one.
members
That is
of
earlier
Jan
one.
Shakti
I am
organization.
not.
Oh, now you're talking about now.
I am the one who's been fighting. I fought the emergency. I fought for not having criminal action in defamation. I am now got a petition in the Supreme Court on the hate speech, on the constitutionality of those laws. So I am all the time fighting. But I have been consistently fighting. Those who are today petitioners in the Supreme Court, they were supporters of the emergency. Romila Thapar, for example, who is one of the petitioners, or the lead petitioner, she supported the emergency. So today, they are only, it is all one-sided. When we, Sanatan and Sanstha people we arrested, no protest from anybody that they have been deprived of their fundamental rights. But when it comes to this, they are saying so, and they are saying so in a judgmental way before even the matter is being considered by the court.
So you are saying that when people say that first your party and your government designated ideological opponents anti-nationals, then urban Naxals, just because you wanted to find a pretext to quash dissent is wrong. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely, it's absurd.
So it's not crossing any boundaries that haven't already been crossed.
It's not only that, we have not crossed any boundaries laid down by the Constitution.
By the Constitution.
I find it interesting, Rahul, that Sanatan Sanstha was mentioned just now. I believe that the Sanatan Sanstha, so long as it is not banned, has the freedom to articulate a point of view. But if there is evidence that they have taken the law into their own hands, and instead of overcoming those differences in a democratic manner through dialogue, have shot dead those who oppose them, then the Sanatan Sanstha must be pursued under the law. Similarly, in the case of these arrests, and I would like to complete this point, either the government provides credible evidence to establish that there is a conspiracy to overthrow the state or to act against the manifest interests of the state, to break a law. In that case, the matter, as I said, is sub judice. But I am pointing repeatedly, going back, Rahul, to a larger question.
Now, how can you contradict yourself? Now, let me. You talked about evidence. You said if the Sanatan Sanstha is linked to activities and there is credible evidence, etc., then by all means shut them down. Right?
Indeed.
The Pune Police Commissioner who spoke to me and who has released this statement has said, and let's go by what he has said, because none of us are in a position to independently verify for ourselves whether this is right or wrong. That is for the court to decide. Analysis of seized documents from electronic devices clearly reveals the conspiracy hatched by the banned CPI Maoist organization to form the All India United Front. As per the strategy and tactics of CPI Maoist Party, i.e. the Anti-Fascist Front, according to the resolution of ERB, Eastern Regional Bureau, which is UG formation, in order to overthrow the government established by law. The pursuance of this conspiracy efforts were made to establish such front in Maharashtra, i.e. through Elgar Parishad, organized on 31/12/2017. The evidence conclusively points to the deliberate involvement and major role played by Varavara Rao, Arun Ferreira, Vernon Gonzalez, Sudha Bhardwaj and Gautam Navlakha in the larger conspiracy hatched by the banned organization CPI Maoist. Why do you say today that anyone has a right to orchestrate the kind of, and I'm using this word in a very qualified, measured way, demagoguery, before the cameras, to assail the state administration, to assail, forget the state administration, the state itself, impugn it, and the police force, which is a
First of all, to assail the state is not a crime in a democracy.
Not saying it is, but to prejudge an action.
Let me see. Now, the question of prejudging is being done by you, by me, and my esteemed panelist, because he himself has rightly said that it is for the court to decide the credibility.
We are only examining.
I'm not prejudging
no one
at all.
is prejudging.
So
we are only establishing.
Therefore, I'm saying to you.
No, 1 second. We are only establishing the red lines of this debate on the basis of what has already been said. There are editorials, there are press conferences that are being held, which have actually held this government guilty without trial. The trial is happening in court.
To disagree, differ, dissent, criticize, attack a government in a democracy is my fundamental right as a citizen within the ambit of law.
In an emergency,
incidentally,
that would have been stopped.
No, yes, in an emergency,
Facile
it would have been
comparison?
stopped. It would have been stopped.
Is this a facile comparison?
And therefore, I am not comparing it to the emergency, but I am still saying that this government has a tendency of being far too brittle towards criticism. I have myself, as in terms of a constructive criticism, said that in a country there are diverse opinions, and the manner in which you invoke nationalism and patriotism to tar, smear, dismiss those with whom you don't agree with
And this
is
you're
wrong.
saying- this
Is
you're
wrong.
saying
and therefore on this,
is a more
and therefore-
exaggerated tendency under the
and
NDA
therefore,
than any other government.
unless proven in court in a credible manner by the government who
Okay.
have arrested these activists, I would say that this falls into that category. But the matter is sub judice, so I am withholding
I
judgment.
understand that and I respect your view on that. But let me ask you, you are making a case out to suggest that this government is perhaps more exaggerated in its actions against a group of individuals who it finds inconvenient to engage with. That's your charge.
Without doubt.
Okay, so let me then point out some pointed examples. Forget about what Dr. Manmohan Singh said when he described first unleashing Operation Green Hunt, and then when he described Maoists per se. Maoists per se is the greatest threat to India's national security. Let me move a little beyond that. In 2010, the then Home Minister P. Chidambaram directly took on Arundhati Roy and accused human rights organizations and NGOs of living in a fool's paradise if they expected the government to do nothing when confronted with an organization hell-bent on the overthrow of the democratic system of government. His exact quote is here. If you wish, I can read it out to you. It will just take a lot more time. But if you want, I will spell it out. If the CPI Maoist overthrows the established authority and seizes power, will they allow any human rights organization to function in this country? Will all those who write 33-page articles be allowed to write 33-page articles? Will there be a magazine to publish a 33-page article?
So
This is what the Union Home Minister said in the Rajya Sabha, referring to an article by Roy in the Outlook magazine, criticizing the centre's operations against the alleged guerrillas.
Please? Who has in this discussion said that a banned organization like the Maoists, who are fighting to overthrow the state through measures which are unconstitutional and who don't accept the Constitution of India, if a link is established between those arrested and Maoism, then the action of
The state says there is a link.
But it has to be proven in court.
But why are you prejudging?
I am not.
I'm suggesting that the government has acted in an exaggerated manner when the matter is lying before the court, and you keep suggesting that.
I'll tell you why. Because on the other side of the spectrum, you have voices being articulated every day, which are of a nature which I believe are truly anti-national, and I'm not being intolerant here.
Right.
When there is a minister, a senior leader of the BJP, who says that the floods in Kerala have come because they eat beef, when in the precincts of the larger parliament in the courtyard, a senior leader of the BJP said a memorial should be built for Godse, when countless MPs of the BJP and ministers say that those who are not of our religion can leave for Pakistan or Bangladesh. These are statements which I believe divide and threaten the composite, plural and strong and strength and fiber of our democracy. What action has been taken against them?
What action has been taken? This creates the perception that this government is biased.
Let us then accept that he has no arguments as far as this particular case of the Elgad thing is concerned.
No, he's only talking about a pathology.
In fact, why are you shifting?
No one else has also.
No.
Because until it's proven in court.
No.
Okay, one minute.
It's proven in court.
I can
finish.
I can then start reeling out statements of Congress party.
No, do so.
They've said, why should I? We are discussing this matter. We are discussing what the legal framework is. Except platitudes, he has said nothing else.
I'm afraid not.
Let me finish. I didn't interrupt.
This is a different.
You don't have an argument. He says it's all ifs and buts. If and then. He says the courts will decide. That's all I'm saying. The courts will decide. And then you have the option of suing the government. There is a provision in the law for that. So first of all, none of us have the authentic documents. That only the court will get. They'll get it on the 6th. The court, instead of saying we are restraining from arresting these 5, they have said keep them in house arrest. That itself shows that the court is not completely convinced that At the moment, there's no prima facie
he's talking
evidence.
about a pathology which
Oh,
has
no,
led
then
to
we
this
shift.
crackdown.
Then we shift.
Let me
This
add
pathology has no connection with this.
No, but Dr. Swami,
Then
let
I
me
will
tell
go
you.
into the
In
pathology.
2015,
I
the
will
Prime
go into
Minister
the
himself.
pathology.
So
in
may I answer?
2015.
I will go into the
I have one
pathology.
point to make.
Accusation has been made
Wait
against
a
me. May I
minute,
answer?
wait a minute. I'm not finished. You can deal with all the accusations. You made so many accusations. I will deal with the pathology
don't-
of those who say that Brahmins are a curse for this kind of society and they should be eliminated. I can quote many of his leaders, JDU people who have said this. So they are all over the country. People are saying this.
No, I would
why are you all the
what is
time?
the-
Let me speak.
Just-
If you want to only hear yourself, please. I can keep quiet.
No, sir, you can speak.
All right, then
I will
please
count
keep
as-
quiet.
Please, okay.
But don't shout, sir.
Why shouldn't I shout?
Okay,
Because
gentlemen,
you are not
Okay,
able to listen to
let's
lower
establish
level
one-
I think
voices.
let's
Okay,
have a
gentlemen,
civilized
yeah.
We
debate.
can have a civilized
Civilized.
debate if you don't interrupt me.
Okay.
I am not
That is
interrupting.
civilization means interruption.
I am not interrupting.
You
let's
are-
not.
you are interrupting, saying I am not interrupting.
Okay, now we've established. Look, I don't want to make this a nightly debate. So we've got to allow the
Yes, I
other
agree.
person speak, and then I will come to you. Yes.
So I am saying, first of all, let's deal with this question. Police has made some arrests or attempted to arrest. The courts have restrained them up to a point. They said, okay, you keep them under your surveillance by putting them in house arrest. Now, the court is going to take it up on the 6th. None of us really know what it is. These people are not people who are being arrested for the first time. They have been arrested in a similar kind of charges.
Not all.
Yeah, 3 of them.
3 of them.
That's enough. And the fact is that we are talking about arbitrary arrests. We are not talking about the quantum arrests.
Okay.
All right. So as far as arbitrary arrests, if you say this is arbitrary, baseless, so on, then it is a question of even a single instance of the same people being arrested.
But would you not agree, Dr. Swami, there are many in your party and in your government who have already designated some of those detained today under house arrest as urban Maoists. This is the same categorization that in 2015 the Prime Minister made when he equated Kejriwal with Naxals. This is what I mean. This is, I think, what he means.
You mean Kejriwal? Kejriwal is a Naxal.
No, let me tell you. CPI Maoists have rejected Kejriwal. In 2014, Ramdev, chief of the Bhujmat battalion of the CPIM, dismissed Kejriwal as a...
I don't buy that. But anyway, that's my opinion.
But you're again prejudging this.
I am making an opinion.
Chief Minister
now you're saying that I can't
Delhi.
even have that opinion. I have an opinion. I have an opinion that he is a Naxal. So let's not go into that. The issue question...
Just like these people are urban Maoists.
Whether they are urban Maoists or not, that's an opinion. What does it matter? Have I not been called a CIA agent by all his leftist friends? All through has not JP been called? Has not Moraji Desai been called? We have been called all kinds of things. So that doesn't make it into the suspension of the Constitution. Okay. Now, however, let me also say, the United States Supreme Court went to this question, where do you draw the line? So they said, supposing a person, the freedom of speech speeches that we get.
Yeah.
So they were dealing with that, the freedom to speak.
Yes.
They said, supposing an individual in his exercise of freedom of speech in a cinema hall while the film is going on, there's utter darkness, he says, fire, fire. Is that freedom of speech? Because you know what will happen if somebody shouts fire, fire. There will be a stampede. Some people may die. So they held that here, what he says has a proximate connection with an event. So if you are going to say...
Even so, the US Supreme Court has rejected the theory of guilt by association.
And I'm not talking about that first. I'm just talking about freedom of speech.
Okay.
The freedom of speech. And this was reaffirmed by an excellent judgment given by Justice Nariman when he dealt with the case of the UPA new amendment to the Information Technology Act.
That's right.
66A.
Which
and said that unless you can show a proximate connection with a subsequent event which is unacceptable, freedom of speech cannot be restricted.
Okay.
Now that is what for the court to decide.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, let me say that I will not begin my arguments by saying that Dr. Swami has no argument and is only speaking platitudes.
Okay.
Because it is not my style and I don't make a
Thank
personal
God.
attack.
We are different people.
And I hope he emulates this example.
No.
Secondly,
Okay.
please don't interrupt now.
No, you asked me. I hope he doesn't accept.
Now you
so
see,
I have to reply.
When you
now
are
you see,
needling him,
now when
you,
you
are,
know,
you are
you
slowly
see-
turning the
you see
knife
how
into side,
quickly he
and he's not
interrupts now.
very far
Having
away from you.
objected to interruption, how quickly he
This is not
interrupts.
interruption.
Okay,
You are named
okay,
me.
okay.
No,
now,
but
then-
sir, you are said
It's
that.
a loud
environment.
You
Okay.
said platitudes and
Okay.
I was trying to respond and
Yeah,
you
he's-
made me keep quiet.
I think
anyway,
this is a fine
be that as
intellectual
it may.
tradition
Be
of
that-
No, no,
sarcasm.
I didn't
Be
say
that
you should
as
be
it
like
may.
me.
Be that as it may.
If you
Be
had
that-
said that Swami spoke nonsense, I wouldn't have intervened.
Be that as it may.
Yeah.
Be that as it may. I am just trying to put this debate in a slightly wider context. One is 5 people are accused. Some people have come, in my view, to the judgment already that they are guilty. But I believe the matter is sub judice. I believe a huge onus lies on the government. For people of these
So you differ with Arundhati and company.
Indeed I differ, and I want to say why.
Why?
If you will hear
Please.
me out. I say that the case that has been registered against them and the manner in which they've been arrested, I believe leaves much to be desired in a democracy. Varavara Rao's son-in-law, his house was searched. He has no other connection as far as the police is concerned, except being the son-in-law. But his house was searched, ransacked, every electronic gadget taken. Another person arrested is a lady. Her daughter said that only male policemen entered the house. When she asked for a search warrant, they said they have none. They ransacked the house. This does not happen normally, even if you are proceeding against anti-nationalists in a civilized state. But that being apart, certain serious charges have been made against people who are otherwise probably not Maoists. However, I will not prejudge that. It is a huge onus on the government, having taken this step and having already framed its charge, to prove credibly before the court that this charge is true, because otherwise there will definitely be the inference, if not the inference, if not the absolutely correct conclusion, that the government acts immediately against people with whom they don't agree ideologically, but is soft with people who they believe is of their ideological hue. Now let me complete, because I must get equal time.
Please.
I want to say to you, Rahul, today our country is in a process of transition, and we really have to re-examine some issues such as freedom of speech in a democracy in a wider framework which is not only juxtaposed to immediate events. And I want to say to you that for a nation which had in the Rig Veda, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti, there is one truth, wise people call it by different names. In a nation which said Udara Charitanam Vasudev Kutumbakam, we have to take people along. In a country with the civilizational statement, Ano Bhadraha Kritapo Yantu Vishvata, let good thoughts, even if I disagree with me, come from all sides and enrich this great nation or civilization of ours. In a nation where Article 19(1) provides you freedom of speech as a fundamental right, in a nation where in 2015, when the IT Act came up in the Shreya versus the Union, Shreya versus Union of State, the court intervened in the direction of freedom rather than of suppression of information. In a nation where even when the Supreme Court was hearing the matter yesterday, or day before, when these activists were arrested, the Supreme Court said dissent in a democracy provides the right ventilation for a democracy, a valve to let out pressure. And even today, as reported in the newspaper, the Law Commission on the question of sedition has come out very strongly on the limits of the Sedition Act, and even sometimes questioning its relevance, because in a democracy you can have the right to pursue what you
making
believe
valid
is
points.
what you believe is good for the nation through means which may differ from yours, but I respect your ability to disagree with me.
No disagreement.
This is the way we have grown as
But
a
let
nation.
me ask you, sir, and once again, at the risk of once again sounding transactional in this rather long viewed dialogue that we're having this evening, I just want to ask you, sir, since we are talking about the direction our democracy should be taking and where it should end up, the worry here is that a large number of people are saying that we are worse off today than we were 6 years, 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is, back in time. Now, I want to point out something to you, and this is more worrying for me. In May 2010, the Home Ministry issued a warning to all NGOs. Now, for a moment, let's assume, which might even be the fact, that the 5 that have been detained are only people involved in the NGO sector and they have nothing to do with the banned terror organization, the CPI-ML. What is this order that was passed, a warning? It said in May 2010, the Home Ministry issued a warning to all NGOs or activists to not associate themselves with the Maoist movement. So, at some level or the other, a limit was set. Now, has that Rubicon today been crossed? Have we gone beyond where we were in 2010-11?
The question is to me, I'll
Yes.
answer it.
Yes.
If the Rubicon has been crossed, and
No, by the
people-
state.
Yeah,
Have we gone beyond just issuing warnings?
I think that if a warning has been issued and it has been disregarded, and you are able to prove a direct nexus by which those who have been arrested are directly helping a banned organization which is indeed a national threat, the action of the state is justified. But my view at the moment is that the manner of the arrest, the evidence thus far produced before the court, even at the time of the granting of bail,
Sure.
does not show that linkage, and if it does, the state is free to take action.
Okay,
We
so let me
trust the
quote out
state
some
to
more-
protect us, but
some
we
more
do
facts.
not trust the state to tell us what to
The
say,
UPA
when to say,
had
how
on-
to say, what to say.
The UPA had on more than one occasion identified front organizations, this is very crucial, of the CPI Maoist and published them as part of a parliamentary reply in February 2014. 74 active front organizations were named, and these included the Kabir Kala Manch as well as the Committee for the Release of Political Prisoners. Rona Wilson, arrested in June this year, was a spokesperson for the latter. So let us not forget that the UPA was also keeping an eye on such organizations, and what has followed is only the logical culmination of that process. That is what the government says.
I have a one-line reply for you that has to be proven in court.
Okay.
That's
Now,
precisely the point.
now, Dr. Swami, I need to ask this question of
Sure.
you because it is being asked insistently. And this question is whether crackdown, this entire crackdown, is actually a diversion. The government is intolerant of criticism, it is being said, especially by those who call out excesses in the name of Hindutva. This is the point he was making a short while back. What better way than to divert attention from the activities of emboldened Hindu ultras, as these people have said, than to conjure up the phantom of exaggerated threats from urban Maoists?
Okay. First of all, when someone says something outrageous, if the government considers that this has crossed the boundaries and it comes within the framework of reasonable restriction to take action against them, that is one post that we have to put. The second post is that if indeed you think that we are lenient to these people, anyone can go with a private complaint and say that these people should be prosecuted.
These means the Hindu ultras.
Those are Hindu ultras. Not a single case has been filed like that by anybody, including PUCL, all these various organizations. So, third thing is, we are relying today on what has been said and conveyed to us through various medias or your correspondence. Twice I have gone into some statement and I've come to the conclusion that it was deliberately twisted. For example, I'll give you a celebrated case. General Singh was in Bahadurgarh, and there was a report that a house of the Harijans had been burnt and all people inside were killed, burnt alive. So they stopped his convoy and asked him what is the reaction to it. He said, I know nothing about it, it's a state matter. You can't ask me these questions off the cuff. Tomorrow you will say that some dog has been run over, what I have to say. So the media projected this as saying that he held scheduled castes as dogs and ran a campaign against him. So I have to, therefore, these examples you give, I would say that if somebody has said something which is transgressed the law and the government is lenient towards him, you have the option of filing a private complaint, and nobody has filed it, which means that nobody is in possession of any material with which they think
you will say that even in the case of Sambhaji Bide,
Yes.
and Times Now has accessed a secret state report
Yes.
which says that he is equally guilty, if not more,
Yes.
for what happened in Bhima Koregaon. Yet he has not been arrested
Well,
with the same alacrity.
somebody should, first of all, by the way,
But that doesn't acquit the
I
state.
may just make one clarification. He said there have been given, even while giving bail, nothing has come out on record. Nobody has been given bail. They've all been put in house arrest. That's not bail. What I'm saying is, if he has been let off, you have every right to put an IA in the
But
very
why should it
Supreme Court.
devolve upon the citizens? if the
Why
state
should
is
it
not
devolve
acting?
upon me to file cases against Ms. Sonia Gandhi on National Herald? The government didn't do it. They did not agree, do it themselves. Why did I have to go for 2G spectrum cancellation? All the licenses were cancelled. They have never been challenged. These culprits may have been let off on a technicality. We'll see what the higher courts say on this matter. I am saying this is a duty of the citizens, especially who pontificate all the time about democracy. They must fight for democracy in an active way.
Let me say that citizens always need to be vigilant. And if they feel that either the national interest or their own rights or the good of the state has been transgressed, they can take up the matter. The state also has a duty in the matter.
Yes.
And I believe that there are some double standards which seem to be in evidence. In this particular case, the state has acted, where activists have been arrested, and we are awaiting to see if the government can, as a consequence of its arrest and action, produce credible evidence before the court.
Yes.
In other cases, I have found that the most outrageous statements which actually hit at what I believe, by my definition, you may disagree with it, are the national interests of India, are not proceeded against, not only leave alone by the government, but by the party itself. A notice is issued, and after a year you find out there's been no response to the notice and no action has been taken.
Sometimes no notice.
And sometimes no notice. And I want to say one thing to you. I'm a proud Hindu. But I believe that many people today who are taking law into their own hands or acting in the so-called interests of Hindus as their spokesman know nothing about Hinduism. Hinduism's strength is that it is inclusive, it is eclectic, it's dialogic, it's based on Shastras and debate, and that is why for 5,000 years it has flourished and prospered, assimilated. It is Sanatan,
So
Anadi,
don't
Anand,
wreck- you're
and
saying don't
therefore
wreck
these
that.
people
Okay,
who act.
so India is demanding accountability, Dr. Swami,
So am I.
from government for the Malias, for the Choksis,
Yes.
for the Nirav Modis,
Yes.
who have looted and decamped.
Yes.
But it is getting accountability from the Bhardwajis, Teltumdes, Ferreras and
Yeah.
Swamis, because we want to assign to our land a particular worldview
Yes.
which militates against our secular democratic principles. That's the charge.
It's a charge only. There's no substance in that. After all, what
He has just talked about several examples.
He may talk about it. And this is all these coffee house platitudes which I've heard here over and over again.
Many MPs in the BJP,
No,
many
you
MLAs of
prove
the
it.
BJP have made
Listen, I
violent
am telling you that these statements you say, I have investigated some of them. They turn out to be different when I find the truth. I don't want to go into that.
Why can't the state investigate them?
Why can't the individual make the state investigate? You can do it by private complaint.
That is completely divesting the state of its primary responsibility
there is a provision
and putting it on the door of the individual citizen. You know how that happens.
Sorry, you go back to your law books.
You can be intimidated.
You go back to your law books. You can enforce the state to take action. You can tell the magistrate, I am not equipped to...
So the state must not have a conscience. When it sees a transgression...
You are making an allegation that state doesn't have a conscience.
There have been statements.
That is your opinion. It is not my opinion. That I am not convinced that these statements have been made.
The opposition has demanded action from the state.
The opposition demand all kinds of things. They don't have any accountability. When I make a statement, I will proceed further and file cases against it and get the state to act. In the case of Mr. Chidambaram in the Aircel Maxis,
so you're conceding that the state doesn't act.
Huh?
You're conceding that the state doesn't act.
If it doesn't act,
and that I am not, or any other private citizen,
I am not here to speak on behalf of the government. You know that very well. And it's a tribute to the BJP that a person like me who openly criticizes the government, they are comfortable with him. I am here to tell you that this business, the state must do this, state must do this. We are not at your command. If you say this must be done and the state doesn't do it, compel the state to do it.
We are
if
not
you don't have the strength to do that,
I have a point.
keep quiet.
We are not at your command.
I have a point.
You are asking us, you are commanding us. You must do like this, you must do this. I think this is bad. But you don't do it, you don't say it when the same thing happens with your so-called secular crowd.
I just want to say, perhaps it would be good for the country to have more people as clones of Dr. Swami who take action on their own. Perhaps it would also be good for the state to be even-handed in matters where it believes national interest is involved. But this whole phrase that is being repeatedly used against me of coffee house platitudes, it interests me. Because in a way it encapsulates within itself a level of dismissal which itself proves my charge. In other words, if I say something which is an oft-repeated truth, which is a window to my civilization and culture and democracy, now it's called an oft-repeated platitudes. He passed away just recently. But perhaps a great leader like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, perhaps he was full of platitudes, because in one of his poems he just writes this one line, "My Lord, never place me so high that I cannot embrace those who are not my own." What a platitude! This coffee house prime minister making platitudes.
Okay, well,
it is a platitude.
It's been a fascinating debate. We've heard both sides. Confront has brought out the best perhaps from two individuals who on one or two particular questions are poles apart. But that's the spirit of democracy. We agree to disagree. It is for you, viewers, to judge. We leave it at that.